This reading is from Censored 122, and it is entitled How to Defeat a Conservative, written by William J. Eisenman. A personal note to the reader. How to Defeat a Conservative was written in the early 1990s and placed on the market in 1995. Queries were sent to over 200 publishers and agents concerning the book. But although some found the book interesting, none asked to look at it. To date, the work remains unpublished. Let the reader decide whether it was right to reject the book out of hand, or whether some publisher missed providing his readers with an interesting and rewarding read. Introduction. This work is a long overdue answer to the quintessential conservative Rush Limbaugh's How to Defeat a Liberal. With the 5-4 selection of George W. Bush as President of the United States by the Supreme Court, it is clear that arrogant conservatism still believes it occupies the moral high ground in this country. For years, conservatives have been having a heyday at the expense of liberals and liberal policies. This hypocritical conservative onslaught was clearly visible in the articles of impeachment brought against President Bill Clinton. During all of this, liberals have been forced into hiding or have been rendered impotent. None has been able to fight back with any success. Liberals in private life, in the media, in politics, and in publishing seem not to have the slightest clue as to how to take on conservatism. Hopefully, this work will show liberals and others how to defeat conservatives and conservatism. If the reader diligently assimilates, chews up, and digests this material, he will discover that conservatism is characterology, not merely a political philosophy. This work will show the conservative character structure at work in areas of censorship, medical freedom of choice, religion, childhood sexuality, and in dealing with the poor. It is hoped that the thoughtful reader will come to see that the conservative character is a social pest. The conservative is easily defeated when his soft, mystical, religious underbelly is exposed as fraudulent and then undermined from within his own frame of reference. We defeat the conservative when we show his Christian faith to be counterfeit. It is here, in his unprovable mysticism and unbiblical religiosity, that the conservative is most vulnerable. Today's conservative has positioned himself on the steep and slippery slope of the moral high ground. He believes he is God's protector on the social scene, in the classroom, in our bedrooms, and in government. The conservative stridently blames liberals for all our social ills and a godless society. Conservatives do this without really understanding and knowing the God of the Bible and what his plans are for humans and Christians. And this is why most efforts of conservatives to improve society fail. In private and on the social scene, conservative ignorance causes much individual and societal suffering. The conservative's mysticism prevents him from being able to guide living reality. He is out of touch. His mysticism, as history shows, makes him a dangerous societal force. The conservative character structure cannot govern, it must rule. There is always a hidden agenda. At his worst, the conservative is a fascist, and at his best, he admires the dictator. His mysticism and self-righteousness prevent bipartisanship because at his core, the conservative is a reactionary. Today's rabid conservative is a danger to freedom and our way of life. For our own protection, the conservative must be exposed and neutralized, made harmless. This work offers liberals and others tools to take on conservatism and defeat it. Rabid conservatism is pathology and must be treated as such. In dealing with conservatism, we must be doctors of the mind, body, and soul. We must not let them dupe us as would a sociopath. We must be alert to all their tricks and propaganda. We must make them prove all things, no benefit of the doubt. Chapter 1: How to Defeat a Conservative. Why must conservatism be defeated? Is not conservatism just a political philosophy, like libertarianism or liberalism? No. The conservatism practiced by Rush Limbaugh and the religious right is characterology that some regard as an emotional disorder. Conservative characters are active in the battle to censor. The late religious leader Jerry Falwell said, after the illegitimate selection of G.W. Bush as President of the United States, that he hoped Bush's new Attorney General would crack the whip on pornographers. These conservative religious characters are at the core of the Republican Party. Many of their leaders sit on local school boards, and they also conduct foreign business and economic policy. These right-wing religious conservatives write for magazines, are radio talk show hosts, and they are on the United States Supreme Court. What is a conservative? This is hard to say. The dictionary is no help. Conservatives do not wish to be labeled. But in this work, we will try to pin them down and find out what makes them tick. Today's conservative is slippery as an eel as to how he wants to be defined. The quintessential conservative Rush Limbaugh won't be bound by dictionary definitions. He claims that his brand of conservatism differs from that of 30 years ago. Does that mean that those who were conservative 30 years ago are not conservative today? More than 30 years ago, both Republicans and Democrats had conservative and liberal wings in their parties. Today's conservative propaganda has demonized Democrats. They are communists, socialists, liberals, secular humanists, gay lovers, and baby killers. Today, conservatism only resides in the Republican Party. The modern conservative wants to be everything to everyone. He portrays himself as a populist, a friend of the poor, a Christian, supporter of business, and a protector of billionaires and millionaires. The conservative wraps himself in the American flag while conducting an anti government, not so hidden agenda. Nothing seems off limits to slash and burn conservatives. The modern conservative comes off as a hypocrite. In the last 32 years, conservatives have gotten tax cut after tax cut, yet they and their billionaire and millionaire friends still feel overtaxed. And even though supply side economics fails over and over again, conservatives continue trotting it out. We've had tax cuts for the rich for over 12 years, and one might ask, where are the jobs? Today's conservative has lied and failed his way through the last 30 years, but still finds support. Believers still abound. This is the crux of the matter. Modern conservatism is like religion, which is based on faith. What passes for brilliancy among conservatives is mere pedantry. Republican conservative politicians usually run stealth campaigns, not exposing the true self. We see that today with these Republican governors who do not say they are out to destroy unions and cut off government funding to public workers and to needed social programs. Sometimes these sneaky politicians hide their Christianity or downplay it. One wonders why they do this if they truly believe the heart of America is conservative. Like religion, conservatism is inculcated early in life. Most conservatives have not researched their ideology. To be continued.